Hey everybody, Savage Lands News coming in this time with a Briar vs Rhinar game. Here we are at the FabFoundry Pro Quest, actually finals. I'd already won my Pro Quest at this point, so me and this Briar player, very talented Briar player actually, Thaminda, are just fighting for the gold foil, to be honest. So a lot of things with Briar in particular have to go well, right? When I saw that there was a Briar in top 8, I was not happy about it. When I saw that he made it to finals, I wasn't happy about it. So, we'll see a couple of those things that have to go right here. Because to be honest, it's a bad matchup, right? Rhinar has, in my opinion, two pretty bad matchups right now, and they are Viserai and Briar. So you're going to see my equipment here. I started with cross strap. It's the only real change because I'm looking to blood rush immediately with no setup and maybe if I have to block, right? Our opponent's playing a very standard, no royal here, Briar. And I do believe they picked to go first, right? Probably the right idea. I can cheat in a lot of free damage on turn 1. I can also alpha rampage a lot of free damage on turn 1. So what I'm really looking to do here is evaluate my hand. The best card in my hand right now happens to be a Swing Big. I have a D-React in my hand. And so I really want to dump my cards, try and dig for a Blood Rush, right? But here you're going to see something really interesting. Exude Confidence, multiple cards left in hand. There could be 2 blues, there could be 3 blues there. So I do something really cheeky. I block 6 with an Alpha Rampage, meaning that even if this Exude is pumped all the way up, boom, I'm going to be able to... Yeah, it's coming in for 8 here. And I get 2 free damage. We lose our Swing Big. But, 2 free damage on turn 0 on their turn, we'll take it. In a Briar matchup, take it. Please, give me 2 damage, right? Give me 2 damage. So our opponent, Arsenal passes, gets to keep a pocket. But that's all right. We draw up, and we hit a Blood Rush, right? Amazing. And this is exactly what Heart and Cross Trap is for, okay? Normally, you can't Blood Rush here, right? You have no card in Arsenal. You're probably gonna not. Oh, I didn't have 2 costs in my hand here, right? So normally you wouldn't want a Blood Rush, but because we got a blue, because we have Heart and Cross Trap, we can probably get this thing to fire, okay? So we draw up, and you can see if we didn't have Heart and Cross Trap here, this would be a bad Blood Rush, right? But because of it, we're going to come in for the full 18, right? We're going to claw with our 2 resources floating. We're going to go ahead and pitch the Beast Within next because I don't want to take unnecessary damage in this matchup. Our opponent blocks just for 3, so it took 2. We're going to take the full 5 from the claw. And then we're going to pop Heart and Cross Trap here. We're going to play Savage Feast. We're going to discard a 6. We're going to do another Intimidate. And we're going to draw a card. And we're going to put that card in our arsenal, right? Basically perfect, right? Full 18 damage Blood Rush with a card in arsenal. Incredible. And there's only really 3 cards in the entire deck that I wouldn't want to put in my arsenal. And they're all Wrecker on blue. Right? So basically everything else can go in there. Even if it's a blue Intimidate, it's just like an Intimidate we're going to fire later, right? Our opponent's thinking here, do they want to really eat 8 more damage? But Briar losing a card typically means their turn's over, and you'll see that we intimidated 2 cards, so they're probably left here with one of the cards they do not want to lose. Intimidate works, especially when you give 2 cards, when you intimidate 2 cards, because a lot of the time, so you can see their Bramble Spark Nimbleism. If we would have hit one of the other cards, they probably would have blocked with it, but they needed them all. Right, they needed those cards. So, all right, it's our opponent's turn. So again, excellent start. Look at our lead. We did 20 damage so far, and they blocked some of it. Right, incredible. Bramble Spark fused. You'll note that we're not running Arcane Barrier in this matchup. I'm not pitching any of my cards away. I need them. I'm going to attempt to race this Briar into the floor and get it to block. And I'm going to attempt to block out its Channel Mount Heroic turns if it gets any, right? So let's see what they do. Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately here we made a mistake, both of us. I'm the one who edited this video. You'll see it in a minute. I caught that we missed a rune chant, right? So, you know, the one arcane comes over and you can see him point his finger. I take the one arcane damage and somehow we both just didn't see the rune chant, right? I think it's just because he didn't pull it out of the motions, out of the stack, and then we did the arcane damage and we both kind of just immediately forgot, right? That's unfortunate, but we're going to block. So that scar for a scar, getting full value because of the blood rush, right? Unfortunately, that's how that works. He got his embodiment immediately off of the arcane damage. And then I take 4 from Rosetta Thorn. Such a good weapon, right? So CNC, boom. Decent 2-card play. This is why I didn't block any part of the Rosetta Thorn, right? Just threatening whatever's in his arsenal right now. It could be a Channel Mount Heroic. It could not. But, you know, we're just... Either way, we're getting 2 cards worth of value or 1 card's worth of value if they don't block it. And either way, that's kind of a big victory when Briar has a bunch of cards, right? Boom. So look at that. 1 CNC 8, a Force of Nature. Love to see it because Force of Natures are terrifying. Really cool thing about the way this Briar plays is it's playing like a super... It's still playing Channel Mount Heroic Briar, but it's playing like a more value-centric one. You'll notice that it'll get an embodiment, block with a blue, block 3, that blocks for 4. So it's like it always has D-React in his hand, basically. For the rest of the game, you'll notice this pattern of get an embodiment, block for 4. Get an embodiment, block for 4. And a lot of the time it's swinging for 11 plus a turn with an on-hit, which is crazy, right? It's hard to deal with. So Nimblism in the E-Strike, coming in for 8. You can see me thinking about using those, but we do not want to use them on something that doesn't have an on hit. You'll notice this over the game. So unfortunate event here. I couldn't stop another embodiment. You really want to try your best to stop embodiments. You'll see he's a machine with those embodiments. So take 1 damage, trigger an embodiment. And then I take 4 more. So took 5 damage on this exchange, unfortunately, but I got to keep 2 more cards. Right, but if things went a little bit better for us, we would be stopping embodiments instead of allowing him to keep them every turn. So there's that card that we put in Arsenal in our first turn. We're just going to cycle it out. You'll notice that I'm putting a Riled Up in my Arsenal. They're both 3-cost yellow 6s, but Riled Up comes in for 9 on a Blood Rush. So it is just marginally better to put in my Arsenal than the card I attacked with. So that's why I traded it out instead of just blocking. Marginal. We're looking for tiny gains here, right? We need every single advantage we can get into Briar. We're looking for everything. And we're holding on to our equipment for on-hits, mostly Snatch. The Snatch is the big card we're looking for here, okay? So boom. Our opponent straight takes it, 6 damage to the dome. They're at 17 to 29. Very good start. Very, very, very good start. You know, but they took damage, so they're probably having to have a really good turn. Let's see what they play. You'll see 2 D-Reacts, a Savage Beatdown, and a Blue in my hand. This is actually, so if you look at the value of our hand right now, I can't play anything from my hand. No attacks are in my hand. Oh, I knocked over all the cards. Whoops, those long sleeves. So we can start digging for a Blood Rush with our Sink Belows. Okay, Earth Lore coming in. Lightning. Ugh, go again. Man. Look at these breakpoint numbers. Look at that. I have 2 D-Rex in my hand and I can't stop the embodiment. My draws were just like just off enough to kind of trigger that. So look, sinking, right? We want to get to our next Blood Rush. Let's sink. And you'll notice that I'm when I knocked him over, I flipped some of the cards backwards. So I'm trying my best to put them the right way. Boom. Okay. And then boom. 2 sinks. I draw a sigil there. So I would normally want to sink again, But because I have a 3 cost in my arsenal, I do not want to sink it and then not be able to play the card from my arsenal, right? So he gets the embodiment 1 point over again. Very annoying. Into a rabble. Showing a rabble. Gonna take 4 here. I mean, I could throw my hand at it, but there's no point. You know, he's at 17 in my head. Being a little bit more defensive. Normally I would be a little bit more defensive, right? I'd be blocking probably a little bit more, trying to find a Blood Rush to end the game. But if he takes 6 again, we're 1 Alpha Rampage, 1 Blood Rush away from winning, right? So really here, I have enough of a life advantage where it's like, eventually he's going to have to start blocking. So, yeah, you know, the early start is the only reason I'm not blocking that much right now, right? That's the only reason. And there we go. Now we have to block. Unfortunate. So in my head here, I have a sigil and the ability to throw 6, or I can throw my whole hand down in front of it and do nothing. I would rather give up my equipment here. Unfortunately, it is the way it is with the sigil drawn. If it wasn't a sigil, I would have only, you know, I would have only given up 1 card and 1 piece of equipment here. He gives it go again. Ooh, this turn is big. This is how you catch up, right? 20 to 17. Lost 9 health in 1 exchange. But we stopped an on-hit. We stopped a free arsenal. We stopped, you know, an unknown amount of damage, but it could have been a lot, right? And by unknown, there's a rabble there. So we know we stopped 4 go again from going into his arsenal, which is important, right? Coming in for 6. Like we said, we're going to put the sigil in our arsenal because I like to have sigils in my arsenal against rune blades. I've said this a couple times, but, you know, sometimes when a rune blade thinks they have the kill with arcane or with over lethal or whatever, they'll overextend and take a bunch of damage on the turn before. Then you can heal your way through it, and suddenly you're in this weird state where maybe they're at 2 and you can reckless swing them. Maybe they overextended and now you can get them into a blocking pattern, but you'll see that's why I did it. So he took 2, or 3. So 14, right? We're like a decent Blood Rush away from winning. Or an Alpha Rampage, right? Let's see what he throws on the table. Rabble. Revealing the big card. The big Channel Mount Heroic. Coming in for 7. Again, 1 pixel over a embodiment. So annoying. And I really wanted to use my boots there just to stop the embodiment so my 6 will come through really, you know, right before his Channel Mount Heroic turn, but it is what it is. So I actually could have taken 7 more damage there and thrown an Alpha Rampage with the triple Intimidate. But I saw the Channel Mount Heroic, and it, you know, that basically means I have to keep a health barrier here, right? We're at 15 plus 1 equipment block left plus sigil. So we're basically at 19 health, which is enough to live through a Channel Mount Heroic turn. It is enough. So you'll see that's why I didn't go for that Alpha Rampage to get him super low, you know? Okay. Just coming in for 6 with an embodiment though, so he can block for 4 with 1 blue, which you saw the blues in his hand, so he can do it. It is very frustrating when they don't eat just 6 every turn, right? But he's pretty low. Going to 8 is basically like a death sentence, you know. Rhinar just can do 8 damage randomly. So he's considering blocking here. Yep, boom, block 4. You'll see this pattern over and over again. Getting so much value, right? Doing 11, blocking 4. Doing 11, blocking 4. It's a lot. So here we draw a Blood Rush Bellows, a Sigil, and that all you got, and a blue. So we can't fire this Blood Rush. Not good, right? But what we can do is put it in our arsenal at least. So 1 arcane gets another embodiment, right? Just turn after turn of unstoppable embodiments. It's so good. But he couldn't fire his Channel Mount Heroic, right? So we're getting a little lucky here. Sometimes you need a little bit of luck to beat a Briar, right? So this snatch is coming for 1 arcane and 7 damage, right? But he has a card in hand. So even if they draw off this snatch, It doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. It's not like they're going to be able to stick something better in their arsenal than a channel mount heroic. So I choose to not block with my boots there. And he already had the embodiment. There's literally no reason to block with my boots at that point. And then here we double sigil, go into 19, putting the most important card in our deck in arsenal. Okay. That's another one of the reasons I love sigils in arsenal. You just can dump it and swap it at any point in time in the game. So here, what I'm looking to do is fire my blood rush on the next turn. All right. I drew one sink, which is just enough to kind of hopefully block our way through this, but he could fire his channel mount heroic here. So you'll see I kind of organized my cards in like a pattern there. You know, I'm slowly thinking to myself, you know, plan A, fire blood rush. Plan B, what do I fire? Plan C, what do I do? Right. So one more arcane, another embodiment. Oh, so annoying. Revealing and exude confidence. Boom. Blocked it out. I don't believe there was a fuse there because the earth card is currently in his arsenal, right? Otherwise, he would have played channel here. One arcane again. Doesn't matter. Would have gotten another embodiment. And then 3 damage coming my way. And I take it because I have a blood rush. So things are going pretty well. I've seen a blood rush already. I have one in my arsenal, so I'm ahead by 1 whole power card. Right, we both have one of our power cards in our arsenal, but I'm 1 whole power card ahead. Boom, blood rush. 2 floating. And you see we didn't hit the beast within there. Could have been you know, beast within's kind of dangerous at this point, but I was going for the kill here, so I was willing to sacrifice it. But what did we draw? Perfection. We drew the best blood rush you could have. So we're going to go in for 5, go again. He does have an embodiment, so he can basically stuff this first claw, unfortunately for us. Blocks it. Trying to preserve life. 5, go again. Considering it, right? Takes 5, going down to 7, and then wombo combo, right? That's a 20 damage blood rush. You know, I'm now 2 power cards ahead of him in the cycle of the game. Pretty nuts, huh? Pretty nuts. So our opponent has to block here, right? They have to. They'll die. So block 2, block 4, or block 3, block 4. Taking 6. Going down to 1 health. So here, we now know Reckless Swing kills, right? That's win con number 1, Reckless Swing. Win con number 2, deal damage, right? Ooh. Snatch for 7. And you'll see that keeping our 1 piece of equipment really paid off. Being patient with that equipment. I'm blocking with that beast within because that card can kill me at this point in time. Embodiment stays for, or channel mount heroic stays for 1 whole more cycle. And now we need to threaten as much damage out of his. We need to threaten 2 cards. Like he has to give us 2 cards here, right? He didn't get an embodiment. His cards probably don't block that well, right? We are going to do an intimidate to make it even harder for him to choose what he has to block with. We're just going to lock them down in this unfortunate blocking pattern, right? We're going to hope that we hit good cards or bad cards, and we're going to hope we leave them with good cards. And we're going to threaten 6 every turn, right? I think we got a little unlucky on his draws, right? I think he drew some 3 blocks here. You see the C and C there in his hand. So now he has to go in the tank to think, what can I possibly do? How can I possibly do damage while he's threatening, you know, 6 right now, and I only have 1 health? And I'm going to do this every turn until I find a Reckless Swing. or until the cards line up where I can basically kill him, right? Okay, block 6. We did get a little unfortunate with our luck there. He drew 2-3 blocks. If he drew any non-3 blocks there, we would have gotten 3 whole cards and then, you know, basically guaranteed. So here we go for the rune chant. Boom. Doing 3 damage. I'll take the 1 arcane. And then here I look at my hand. And I have 2 options, right? I can preserve life because I should probably, you know, like if you are really paying attention to where my what's possibly in my hand, you know, Reckless Swing is like around the corner, right? So I could preserve life here, but threatening 6 every turn is probably going to mean that this is the extent of what he can do for a while. Especially with Runeblade luck, right? Like they might just not even draw anything that they can attack with. But here I take it because I'm going to opt for... So, okay, so this is actually an interesting part. So I'm opting to roll here, right? And in my head, even if I don't roll that well, I can Intimidate, I can play a 6, and I can put this Tome of Fiendel in my arsenal and heal back up on my next turn cycle while doing 6, right? So going up while ripping his cards out until I find Reckless Swing, right? So my plan is I'm betting on Scab Skins, right? Which you don't really do, right? It is an option that can happen. But I have a backup plan, right? I have a make his turn really awkward to block and put a Tome of Fiendel in my pocket. So that's why I didn't block there, right? Just so you guys know. There was 2 avenues of success in this hand. So here you see, okay, I can roll. What happens if I hit the double 1? Obviously, the game is going to lose, but I don't hit it, right? So 1 in 36. But here we win, right? We hit the 4. Game's over, right? We know he can't block 12 with 2 cards. Nobody can, right? Nobody can block this. So 6, still no embodiment. His cards probably don't even block for 3. And, well, they do. Oh, wow. Those are all 3 blocks. But we have 2 Intimidates, so it's his GG, right? And like I said, if we didn't, we would just dump this high roller and play a normal 6, put the Tome of Fiendel in our arsenal, right? So, I mean, there's a bit of luck into going into beating Briar. But keep in mind that if I didn't pull ahead that hard early, I would have played way more defensively, right? I would have been preventing much more damage. I would have been digging for my Blood Rush much more aggressively. I would have been using every one of my D-Reacts that draw, all of my tomes that draw to try and get me to my Blood Rush, because that is my pocket way out of this matchup. Yeah, great game. Amazing opponent. I don't remember if he was undefeated, but he might have been. Yeah, have a great day.